everybody, how you doing? This is Johnny Silmon here from the Way, the Warrior Arts of Indonesia. So this is now episode 3 of the Warrior Arts podcast, and I am absolutely delighted to have one of the giants of modern Silat now. Great to have him on. He's in the middle of his Ramadan, and so happy that he could find some time to come onto the show and have a chat with me. This is the one and only Maul Mornie. Maul, how are you, sir?
Thank you. Hey, Johnny. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming on. You've just been in the Philippines, I understand.
Yeah, last weekend, I was picking up my training weapons.
Oh,
So I was in the Philippines for like a few days.
oh,
So
nice.
I had it shipped to a friend's place, and then I just need to pick it up and things like that. So yeah.
Okay.
Would you like to see it? Would you like to see
I,
it?
we would all like to see it.
All
Come
right.
on,
Okay.
share the
So,
love.
so this is a sword.
Oh, check
So
it out.
basically, the hilt is made from it's authentic antique
Wow.
from a real sword in Brunei. So it's
Oh,
solid brass. So what I wanted was, I wanted a reproduction for me to train to safely train with it. So basically, when you this one,
look
so
at that.
basically it looks real, but it's blunt aluminum.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So I could.
What sort of weight does that have? How does that
It's
feel weight wise?
it feels amazing because the balance is where it's supposed to be. And that
That's
it's
fantastic.
amazing. So
And
when
was that actually made for you? Were they just handmade or made?
no
Someone made them for you?
the brass hilt is an authentic antique. So the thing is, this is a generic one, yes, but everything else is made for me. So basically, the length and things like that. The beautiful thing about this, Johnny, is this. I'll show you.
Let's have a
Where's
look.
the okay, one second, one second, one second.
Go for it. Let's
One
see.
second.
Nice. Getting a little bit of an exclusive here on some of these weapons that Maul uses in his seminars. So let's see what he's got in store.
I got it. So basically, this
Okay.
sword, it's 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 used by the escorts of the royal family. So
Ah.
usually we call it the noble people, when the
Hmm.
sultan is being pushed forward with his chariot in the olden days. So the
Hmm.
guards will be using this type of sword.
Wow.
Now the beautiful thing about this sword is the blade changes depending on the person. But the
I
hilt
see.
is usually made like this. And the beautiful thing about this, yes, if somehow the blade feels a little bit off balance, not balanced for you, so what you do is, this is the beautiful ingenuity. You can take this off, so you can change this with a different weight. So the pommel, so basically the pommel, this one, when you this is what makes it really beautifully balanced. So you can change the weight, and then when you hold it, it dances in your hands. It's amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. So most of the weight really is in the handle to give you that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
That's
this is
beautiful. It has the handle has it. It almost has a like a little bit of a European design as well with this handle design here. Not that I know a great deal
yeah.
about
Well,
swords, but this
yeah.
particular type of sword.
The thing is, usually the handle, it's based on they said it's from either India or Arabic swords, yes. But the thing is, with Indian swords, the base here is a disc. For the Malay sword, it's like a petal fruit, like the sirih, the people they chew. So that's how it is. And then the blade, there are different tribes or different type of people use these blades because in the olden days, the Bruneians they would trade with other tribes using the sword. So they would give this as a barter trade. So if you take a look at some of the headhunter swords, it looks the same as well. The difference is the headhunter swords, the blade would be very stiff, like this, yes? But the one which is used by the nobility, the blade could actually bend. It's amazing. And there's a few swords that is in the museum that is like 200, 300 years old. The blade is still amazing. It's crazy. So the thing is like,
So you've had, is this just a single one that you've had made, or you had quite a few of these made for a
Yeah.
couple of them?
I, I had to. Usually, when I have something made for me, I usually have to make. The thing is, a lot of people ask me, why do you have to make it in the Philippines? Why not in Brunei, or why not in Indonesia, or things like that? The thing is, like in Brunei, not a lot of people know how to make this anymore. And the thing is, like when they do, they don't. The thing is with Brunei is we are not an industrial country, so to get aluminium and other things that to make this, it's a bit expensive. And I can make it in Brunei, but it will be double the price. So I got this to make. I got somebody to make this for me in the Philippines, which is way cheaper. And then I can fly there, pick it up, and have everything, and still cheaper than it made here.
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely, mate.
crazy.
You're in a great geographical location there to be able to get to other places of Southeast Asia. But you,
Oh,
talking of that, you're based in Brunei now. How long have you been back there in Brunei?
um, I officially we let go of our flat in Surrey in
Yeah,
2016, but this is only
2016.
yeah 2016, but only because my wife she finished the studies and things like that, so I don't need the place.
I
So
see.
I moved to a smaller place, which is closer
Yeah.
to London, in Reading,
Okay.
in Reading,
In
a
Reading,
smaller
yeah,
place in Reading.
yeah,
So basically, I'm still based in the UK because it's
yeah.
better to fly out everywhere from the UK and to
Yeah,
have
of
some place
course.
to stay.
Especially
But
for
then
Europe. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But then
yeah.
when COVID happened, I had to let go of everything. So
Ah,
basically, yeah,
the
it's
world
crazy.
changed. But
Uh,
you started your life in the UK in Wales, right?
yes, yes, in Cardiff.
That's
I was a student. My first year was in 1999. So I was doing my degree, 99. I was doing my degree and then I did my master's in Wales. And yesterday, YouTube reached out to me. It was my 19th year being on YouTube. It's crazy, 19 years on YouTube.
yeah.
How crazy is that?
I noticed. I was just looking just before we came on air. Your for the first video you posted was 2006.
Yeah,
So a long time ago.
it's crazy. I was already teaching, but to a small group of people, self-defense, not
Hmm.
Silat officially, because
Yeah.
the people who came to train with me were like people who worked in the door, like security guys,
Yeah.
musicians, taxi drivers, and things like that. So when I did the video for YouTube, it wasn't to promote any Silat. It was supposed to
Yeah.
be for them
Yeah. Yeah.
for them to have homework and things like that. It's crazy. 2006, 19 years already.
But you, when you started, I know obviously when we spoke last time, you mentioned that again you had like a small group of guys that started off from the university. How did they? There wasn't a lot of Silat. Obviously what we had back then would have been more so along the lines of maybe FMA, Southeast Asian, and the traditional other art. So, how was what you taught received by them? Were people, quite enthusiastic about it, or was it like, what's this kind of style? We don't know what it is.
It's when in the beginning when I was teaching, I just said what people ask me what you do. I just said silat. It was not specific and things like that because at that time people were not into forms, were not into there is a period in time where people like forms and then they don't like forms. They like forms, they like techniques. They don't like techniques, they like this. So at that time, I think I was just at the right what you call that crossroad where people just wanted the meat of silat, so the buah. Yes. So when I was teaching, a lot of people approached me about knife defense. So all I did was like basic knife defense where you just block and hit, counter and hit, and things like that. So a lot of people were, yeah, why don't you disarm it? I said, if I hit you in the face, why do I need, if I can hit you in the face, why should I need to disarm the knife? In the beginning, they didn't get it. So I said, and they said, could we test? could we test this theory? They said. I said, yeah, but we don't have any protective gear. He said like, yeah, I can take a punch. I said, are you sure? Obviously, I will not hit him in the face, yes? So I hit him in the chest. And he was like, he went through a window. I know, he went through the mirror. He went through a mirror which was in the basement. So at that time, I was actually teaching all these guys in the basement of my flat because we had a small area over there, and there was a pool table. So when I hit him, he went over the pool table and crashed into the mirror. And I was like, shit, are you okay? And then he was like brushing himself. He got a few cuts and things, obviously. So it's like, shit, could you show me again? I said, I think let's do it safely first rather than doing it this rough. And I need to clean up this before we continue. So and so. And so
So in those early days, it was just you would have been teaching aspects of what you knew rather than going from a like a formalized kind of curriculum. How did you determine, okay, today we'll teach this, we'll teach that? What was your kind of methodology for showing them?
to be honest, at that time, it's more like I got what if somebody, for example, like threaten you with a knife? So
Okay,
basically, this guy's
scenarios.
asking
So using
scenarios.
scenario based, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
scenario-based stuff, and then I
yeah.
said like, okay, you give me one scenario, and we'll do this for the whole day, and so on, so on, so on. And the thing is, like, some of them were like, how did you do that? How did you have? How do you have like a very strong base? How do you have a very strong structure? I said that's the traditional aspect of the art. So what I'm teaching you here is the interpretation of the jurus or the forms and things like that, and then all the applications that I know. Yes. But we didn't cover a lot of techniques. We just covered, for example, like if I was to teach knife defense, usually I just showed like 4 different entries or 4 different controls and things like that. And because most of these guys, they need it for their work. And they said like, we cannot injure the person because if not, we'll be in trouble or we'll lose our jobs. So I just tell them like hit them very hard in the body. Usually I teach them how to hit them in the liver, in the floating ribs, in the spleen, in between the side of the legs and things like that.
It's like
Something that
this is like Kyokushin Kai style, Just
yeah,
leave the
at the
face
time.
for now and hit
Yeah,
the body super
yeah.
hard.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
as you know, like when you do like kuntao or buah pukul or Indonesian would call it pukulan, it's all about striking. So it's not
yeah,
just striking the
absolutely,
body. You also even when
absolutely.
you deflect, you also hitting the hand and things like
Yeah,
that. So at that
yeah, yeah.
time, they were not used to it because I had one guy who did FMA. He was showing me all this like gunting stuff,
Mm,
and things like that. And I said, in Silat, we don't have gunting because if you have the reach to hit the body as the main target, why would you hit the hand? Oh yeah,
mm.
because you could weaken the hand. I said you've been hitting my hand for like 10 times for the past hour. Do you see that I'm in pain? I said yeah, but I'm not hitting you that hard. I said yeah, but in real life, are you sure you're going to hit the person that hard? Something like that. So it's
Yeah,
it's 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 a different mindset. And I said like, if you're
yeah,
gonna do that, do this. So basically, I just hit him
yeah.
in the hammer hand him in the bicep, and he dropped everything. And that was then that's what that. So
So you're you are the busiest teacher, the busiest man in terms of the worldwide amount of seminars that you do in any year. I mean, I'm looking at your page here, this post that you've put on for your 2025 Bruneian Martial Art Silat Sufyan Beladiri Global Tour Seminars. And you're stacked, man. Australia, Denmark, Finland, Germany, India, Italy, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Netherlands, Singapore, United Kingdom, and the United States. Multiple dates on most of them. What do you feel has been your success? What do you feel has just given you this explosion and this popularity for a long time now? Certainly for an extended period of time. What's your theory on that?
to be honest, I just hit people very hard. That's it. So, but the thing is like, most of the things you have to show like the way I see it. Yes, a lot of people like to see strength, like to see power, and then the control of power, and then the control of strength through structure. So when I'm doing my stuff, yes, if you take a look, it's very it's very structured, and then it's not chaotic and things like that. Because when we start the seminar, I tend to start with the basic drills. Yes, we call it pelampas. Pelampas is a basic drill. Yes, so the basic drills, and then the thing is, through the basic drills, I tend to read people's skill. So if they're
Yeah.
experienced, you can see they have good coordination, and if they're not, then you can see that they're struggling a little bit. So I see the majority. If I see the majority have good coordination, then my level of teaching would be a little bit more up. But when I see they're struggling a little bit in their coordination, then I go a little bit lower. But the content will still be what you call that, be explosive, fast, quick, and things like that.
Yeah.
Now it's a bit different. I can see the difference between 10 years ago, or maybe like 6 years ago when I was teaching. I had a lot of people who were my age back then, so they could move basically similar to how I can move, because they've got that vigor, they've got that age, they've got that health and things like that. But now, most of those people also my age. Yes? So they've got knee problems, they've got stamina problems, they've got this, they've got that. So I think I was there at the right time when I
Yeah.
was at the peak of my age. Yes?
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
I'm still trying to be the same motion, but most of the people that train with me, they can't move the same way. So I have to follow their flow and
Yeah.
things like that. So I felt this last year. A lot of the regulars, a lot of people that usually come to my seminars, they were, well, I'm not saying bad things about them. It's
Yeah.
just
No. No.
age.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm
It's
just being honest.
observation.
Yes,
Yeah. It's
it's
observation.
observation,
Yeah.
observation. So
Yeah.
most of them are really good, really, really good. But then because of age, bad knees, stamina, this and that. So I have to follow the flow. So like when you want to run fast, but you have to wait for everybody. So that is my problem sometimes.
Yeah.
So I get that sometimes.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah,
I've seen it with sort of students, and I know people who have dropped out of doing Silat, not because they didn't enjoy it, but because sometimes just the physicality of certain types of Silat. It's not every Silat that has that, but they've dropped out because certain, literally the physical body doesn't function anymore, and they're like, look, I can't really do it, and people move on, and 20 years is quite a long time, and if we get there and we start in our 20s or 30s, by the time we've hit our 50s, unless we've had a clear run of maybe uninterrupted training and being relatively injury free, the body does change. Because what people don't often think with Silat, Southeast Asian martial arts, the naturally Southeast Asians, certainly I know from an Indonesia point of view, John Cock position, sitting down, sitting
yeah.
cross-legged, mobility in the ankles, hips, knees, etc. Hot weather all year round. It's different trying to bring that contextually, certain things, if it's low position, to kind of cold UK Western winter. It's hard, man. It's hard.
Mentioning low position, when you mention low position, that is one of the reasons why I was very easily accepted as well. If you take a look at our stance, it's not as low. So basically,
Yeah.
we have three stances: high, middle, low. Yes, if
Yeah.
you take it into the context. So most of my stances is between 1 and 2. So mid. So most Westerners are able to do that. But if I go middle and a bit lower, then this is where people tend to stop training after half an hour.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the reasons when I was teaching, a lot of the guys, they can do a basic fighting stance,
Yeah.
but they cannot do a silat stance. So I
Yeah.
worked with what they can do, and then I interpreted most of the techniques that I was taught to that stance.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I would do takedowns, I would go low stances and things like that. I think because of the stance, that was what made a lot of sense for most people. And then seeing the feedback that I had throughout the years, a lot of people would say that, oh, this is much more natural for a human being. Well, saying that is for them.
Yeah.
Natural for people to have that stance rather than like a very low stance, like in traditional martial arts and things like that. So I think that was one of the reasons why we were very popular and we grew very quick, because
Yeah.
it people could do it. People could do the things that I showed. I think that was
Yeah,
one of them. Yeah.
sure. That's a big element of it. But just going back to that quick growth. So you started on YouTube at a time 2006, 2007 when there wasn't a great deal of Silat information really out there. You know, people hadn't really overly caught on to YouTube just yet. So you managed to catch that initial wave, if you like, of popularity, and obviously your stuff really exploded with, you know, literally some videos have hundreds of thousands of views, and some have, you know, through collaborations with other channels, have millions of views.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel the early days of YouTube really helped to kind of promote you into popularity? What was your thought on that?
It, it has a lot actually, but
Yeah,
before I used YouTube a lot to push my videos and things like that.
yeah,
But and then I started to see a small what do you call that,
a
decline,
decline, a
a
dip,
decline.
decline. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
a decline because of TikTok, other short videos and things like that, where people can be more attentive in a less than 1 minute video. If you
yeah,
take a look at most of my YouTube videos, it's like minimum 2.5 minutes or three
yeah,
minutes because there's a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
content that I show.
True.
And I think throughout the years, like after 10 years and things like that, after the invention of TikTok and things like that, a lot of people have a very low attention span. And
It's
I
true.
find that my YouTube isn't as popular anymore. But before this, people go to YouTube. They look for me through there. Now I do short videos, but I post it through my Facebook pages,
Ah,
Facebook page. So I post it there. Basically, like less than a minute video and things like that. And crazy, in the last year, just starting to do that, I'm getting like 60,000 followers from that, just because of
well,
short videos.
yeah.
But the YouTube before that was what made everything happen. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think everything it generally tends to kind of evolve a little bit, and you know there wasn't as many social media platforms, and as you just said, I think people's attention span and the different demographics are maybe like the younger demographics have less attention span, and they're just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling.
Yeah.
So you have to be in that position where you have to probably catch them really quickly. But the YouTube definitely was the thing that put you on the map, or helped to put you on the map,
Yeah.
and help to get you your seminars. So I mentioned the seminars and how busy you are now. What was it like in those early days? I mean, I guess you didn't have the mindset initially of thinking, I want to be an international Silat teacher, but things just evolve. What was it like in those very first few seminars when you were called, or when you were people have contacted you to say, "Hey, do you teach that? Can you come and teach that?" What was that process like for you?
Well, the thing is, when I was teaching, I wasn't actually teaching as a job. It was like a side, because I was a student. So
Yeah,
I was a mechanical
it
student
was your
at
side
university.
hustle. Your
Yeah, it was
side
quite hustle.
hustle.
So basically, rather than like wash dishes, to be honest, I did wash dishes in a Thai restaurant. That was like my side hustle. So basically, that was like 20 pounds a week, something like that. Yes, I got that. But since I was teaching like that, I get at least like 150 a week. And it helped. If you're a student, it helped a lot. So it
Of
helped a
course
lot.
it does.
Yeah. And the thing is, I wasn't thinking to be a professional instructor and things like that. It was just something that I did with friends and things like that. People interested, they come, they train. So in my final year, doing my degree, yes, this was before doing my master's. I was doing my degree. My friend said, "You're going to go home soon, more. So how can we continue our thing?" I said, at that time, it was a time of VHS, DVDs, CDs. Not like now. You can just put it on
Yeah.
Facebook or YouTube. So basically, at the time, I said, let's wait. I'll go to uni. I'll go to the media department. I'll ask if I could borrow the video camera.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, when I went to the media department, because I was not a student of the media department, they said, yeah, you can borrow. So they came with this big suitcase, and I said, what's this? This is your the camera you want to borrow. I said, don't you have like a smaller camera? Oh, that's only for students. So I was walking around town with that thing lagging on my shoulder, like the BBC cameras and things like that.
A
Every
massive one,
time I
full
was like
class camera.
shooting, everybody was well behaved. So we went to Butte Park. We went to the park, and then we took a few videos over there. And the thing is, it was um, we took like 3 days doing videos on the park. So I said like, what do you want to cover? They said, I want to cover this, I want to cover that, this and this and that. So we did that. So and then okay, let me find out because I'm going to go home. So I'll find out if I can get friends or I could go to uni and burn this on a CD and I'll give
Yeah,
it to you. But at the
nice.
meantime, I found this website. It's new. Nobody has heard of it before. So I'll put it in that website first, and then when I get the DVD burn, I give you the DVD, I'll delete this. So the website is called YouTube. This was
Ah,
in 2006. Yes,
wow.
YouTube. So I was like, at that time, when I uploaded it, I searched on that website. I was actually one of the first few that was on YouTube. And
Mm,
then there was no Silat video at the time.
no.
So basically, I'm the original gangster on YouTube.
You are the OG.
2006.
Really cornered a market, yeah.
That's crazy.
And those videos, they swept like wildfire initially.
Yeah. I
You know,
think
they
like
really
two
did.
months, 2 months after that, I was contacted by a guy in Italy. He said like,
Oh,
would you be interested to come to Italy to teach me? I said, teach you what? He's like, Silat. I said, which Silat school do you come from? He said, no, I'm a JKD
ah,
instructor. I said, you're a JKD instructor? Yeah. And then so and so. I was like, is this for real? Why would people want to learn
mm,
Silat? Because back home here, nobody wants to learn Silat. Everybody wants to learn karate, taekwondo, hapkido. Silat, why? Silat is for people whose father works low wages. This is what they look at it as. So I hope nobody gets offended when I said that. It's the truth at the time, yes. So, but for me, Silat is part of my family's heritage. So when I
yeah.
was training, it wasn't about fighting; it was about discipline.
Mm,
Yes. So when I was invited, it took me like a week or two. So I ignored it in the beginning. I answered, I replied, did this and this and that. We discussed. I thought it was not going to go anywhere, but he persisted. He said, "So when you're
mm,
going to come to Italy?" I said, "Are you for real?" And I said, "Buy my ticket first. Show me you book my hotel, and then we can talk more after that." So he actually bought my ticket, booked my hotel. So I thought this guy's serious. So I went to Italy for 10 days, if I'm not mistaken, 10 days, just to teach him 10 days. He's a restaurant owner in Italy.
ah,
And he's also a JKD instructor. So he teaches JKD in this gym. So when I was there, again, at that time, it was not easy to get training weapons. Everybody just used like broomsticks that was cut in
yeah.
small pieces and pretend that's a knife. And most machetes or things are from arnis or kali sticks because of the
Mm,
JKD connection. So when I was doing that in the beginning, that was the only thing I have. So when I was doing it, so people see me, oh, Maul must be from the Philippines. So at that time, nobody know what Brunei is. Nobody know the
yeah.
distinction between Silat and FMA because
Mm,
of the Kali Silat. At that time, people
yeah.
call it Kali Silat. So when I was doing it, but I think that was also one of the reasons. One, we have a very upright position to
Yeah.
shoot them. Two, because of the weapons. They had the weapons in their training bag, and then they trained JKD, FMA, and Kali Silat way, and then it attracted them.
Yeah.
So that was also one of the reasons why we were very quick to attract a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then after that, the Italian guy asked me, like, Mo, would you like to do a small seminar with my group of instructors from my organization? I said, yeah, why not? Yeah, no problem. So he organized a seminar. So I think it was around 12 or 8 or 16. I don't remember. We've got the pictures there. And then this was also the reason why SSBD grew very quick because
Mm,
of those instructors from that
yeah.
organization. You know how JKD guys, they like to, how do you say this, promote other systems, and then they like
Sure. Yeah.
to
Cross-train.
cross train and things like that. So I think they were talking about SSBD
Yeah.
amongst each other, and then with the other people that was in the JKD community. I think this was one of the reason why SSBD exploded in popularity
Mm.
because of these instructors. If it was like normal people that had no ranks, no whatever, no skill, not no skill, like no organization, and just
Yeah.
students, I don't think it would have gone anyway, because
Yeah.
who would listen to a student? You know, people would believe an
Yeah.
instructor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's being in literally the timing of it, the YouTube connection being
Yeah.
probably, as you said, the originators in terms of Silat specific content, and being in the right place at the right time, and from there it just grew and grew, right? You
Yeah.
obviously started off in Italy, but then you were contacted by other
Yeah.
countries, other teachers as
A
well.
few months of that, a few weeks, I think, like 8 weeks. I was contacted by Germany. I was contacted by Netherlands. I was contacted by this. I was contacted by that. Well, the thing is, for me, I have to be a little bit um, hesitant, because at that time I didn't believe people wanted to train Silat. So I said, like, okay, if you want to come in, if you want to invite me, come to a seminar first. Let me meet you and so and
Yeah,
so. So basically, that's the smartest thing I could do. I
sure,
wouldn't
sure.
fly somewhere, not know the guy, and then get nothing. Or
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah,
this guy's a
yeah,
crazy psychopath whatsoever. So I don't want to
absolutely,
get
absolutely.
connected with that. Yeah. So, but
But
yeah.
But
Sorry,
you,
excuse me.
as I said, you didn't start it going into it thinking, "Oh, I'm going to be a full-time Silat teacher" when you first started, because your degree was actually in engineering. Connect, that
Yeah.
was your life path,
Yeah,
right?
my brothers were all educated. The thing is, I come from a good family, so we're
Yeah,
not poor, we're not too rich.
yeah,
And the thing is, like, martial arts was like, even my mother sometimes, like, she would ask me, "Mom, when are you gonna get a proper job?" I'm like, "Mom," and this was like a few weeks ago. So, but I said, like, everything's okay. There's nothing. I've got savings. I've got this. I've got savings for the children and for the education in the future. Everything's sorted out. So it's just because a lot of people, if you don't work for the government, or if you don't
mm,
work nine to five, or you don't wear a suit, or you're not sweating,
yeah,
or you don't moan about your day, it's not a proper job. Like for me, I come back from work, I'm always smiling, I have full of energy. I come home, I play with my children and things like that. So it's not a normal job. And I love it because, when you get to do the things that you love, you're not working.
yeah.
You're not working and things like that.
It's not
So
it's not corporate, and actually, as you said, if it's worked for you, if you're able to pay the bills, able to live a relatively comfortable life, and spend time with your family and your boys, let's say you've got three lovely lads.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, then that must be the dream for a father, to be able to spend time in those formative years, to be there to see your kids. Because yeah, you could have been working in the oil industry in Brunei, and you're never home.
Yeah.
Okay, they've got everything they want materially, but dad isn't always about, and he's always stressed. So people determine what they value in life.
You wouldn't believe this, Johnny. When you said, like, I have a lot of time with my boys, you wouldn't believe this. When COVID happened,
Mm,
for me, that was like a blessing. I didn't
yeah.
have to go anywhere. I can teach online. I had a full schedule. I was teaching like 350 people online. And then all I need to do was wake up in the morning, brush my teeth, teach now 2 hours and a half in the morning and 2 hours and a half in the evening. And that's what was it. The rest was with my boys. COVID
Yeah.
was amazing for me. For me personally.
Yeah,
For other people,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
But for
yeah,
me,
yeah,
it's great. And
yeah.
when they lifted the what you call it, the
Restrictions.
restrictions, I
Yeah.
was like, shit, I have to travel now. I have to leave my boys again.
Ah,
And there's a story to this as well. The reason why I felt like it was a blessing was in 2019, my second son was born.
yeah.
So, like, 2 months after he was born, I had to fly out. So when I flew out, at that time my schedule was I was away for 8 months. No, 8 weeks, and then I came back for 6 weeks. I go out for 8 weeks. So basically 2 months for a baby. That's a long time. So
Oh, okay.
when I came home, his face changed, and I was like, I didn't recognize him from the small baby after when he was to 6 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was so guilty. So for the whole year 2019, close to when COVID started to happen, yes. So I was thinking like, the only way I could get away from my schedule is if two things happen: a natural disaster, like what happened with Iceland, the before like
Yeah.
10 years
The
before, and
volcano. Yeah.
everything went for a halt
Mm.
for like a month. Either that or a zombie apocalypse. And then suddenly, end of the year, COVID happened. And I was like, well, so that
See?
was,
See, that's the power of the Silat Sith Lord being
uh,
able to bring change. Have your boys have certainly your oldest one, have they shown any interest in terms of training, Silat?
my eldest and my second. My third is
Yeah.
still running around playing toys. My
Yeah.
second, because their toy room or their study room is very close to my training room.
Okay.
So when I'm teaching, they would be in the other room, and sometimes they
Ah,
would look at me.
nice.
So they have they my youngest have seen me train since he was as long as he can remember, I think.
Yeah.
So in our living room, I tend to train in between while he's watching me, he's watching television, watching me, and things like that. Recently, he's actually like asked me like, "Dad, could you teach me?" I said, "Like what? Like teach me how to fight." I said, "I cannot teach you how to fight, but I can teach you discipline." I
Yeah.
said, like, if it's all about discipline, nothing to do with fighting. He said, like, yeah, but could you teach me the things that you can do? I said, you can, but you have to understand, I'm your father. Outside of training, I love you a lot. But in training, you have to understand that I will not be the same person
Mm,
because it's training, yes.
yeah.
So I will ask for more things from you.
Mm,
So he was okay with that, but and then um, we were going to start the training last year, and so on and so on. So we started the training, we started all the stances, we started all the physical motions and things like that. But and then we had to stop or cut it down a bit this year because he's having his major exams this year.
yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
this year we just putting it a little bit on the hold. He's
Yeah.
still training once a week, but not as intensive. But
Okay.
I do tell him every morning when you wake up, use the bicycle outside, and then do a few physical exercise that I've taught you and things
Yeah.
like that. So just make sure your body's strong. So when you come
Oh,
back to
nice.
training, we actually didn't stop. So
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
great. So that's a good point to be able to go back to talk about your formative years of training when you were young, who your influences were. Tell us a bit about that. Tell us a bit about the Silat Sufyan system and how that was imparted to you by whoever your influences and teachers were.
The
Take us back a
The,
bit.
the thing is, I was taught directly by my grandfather and my
Your
great
grandfather.
grandfather, grandfather. So basically, my grandfather, he lived in a different era where it was illegal to carry weapons. My
Uh,
great grandfather lived in an era before World War II. So he has more experiences in terms of using the blade, while my grandfather is a lawman. So basically, he was in the police force. He
mm,
was in the special branch and things like that.
mm,
So he used his silat. I think this is why I can adapt to the traditional silat that we have to different scenarios, because when my grandfather was working for the special branch of the police, he had to use it. Obviously, who's going to do a jurus or kembangan before they
yeah.
fought or where they were
Mm,
going to use it. So they used the physical training that he had
mm,
uh, for his work. My great grandfather is different. Both my grandparents, my great grandfather and father were amazing. They were lovely people, caring, loving, and things like that. But when my great grandfather was getting old, he got a little bit senile and things like that. So some of the stories he told got a little bit, no, he couldn't have done this. Oh no, he couldn't have done that. And then my great grandmother at the time said, like, whatever your your great grandfather tells you, never leave this room, because whatever he's telling you at the moment, that actually happened.
Mm.
So the thing is, well, like when you hear stories about other systems and things like that, because you're not connected by blood to that person, you would tell the things, his adventures, what he did. He killed this guy, he killed that guy, he did this, he did that. Like for me, it's I don't have that luxury, because he's my great grandfather. It's not something that I'm proud to say. But the thing is, like, my great grandfather has done a few things that he needed to do to protect the family, and then to protect the household and things like that when he was
Yeah.
younger.
Yeah.
And at that time, the law was not as strong as it is now.
No.
So you were your own police. So basically, that's to say like that. So
Yeah, the law
so
was taken. There's often parts I know in Indonesia and certainly in places like Minangkabau. Oftentimes, the law people take the law into their own hands. They give out justice, and if it's deemed okay because someone's stolen or someone has committed a more heinous crime, the police sometimes turn a blind eye to leave it to local people to just do what they need to do.
that,
Say no
at,
more on that. Yeah.
at that time, it was before World War II. So
Yeah.
basically, the British was here and things like that. So the British
Yes.
didn't care about, like,
Yeah.
all these petty village topics, nothing to
Yeah.
do with. So whatever happens, happens. So for them, so they, as you said, they turn a blind eye and things like that. So, but most of the things that I do, actually taught directly by him. So
Okay.
this is why I think, like, we could deal with stuff really effective, because he had first-hand experience in using them. But
Yeah.
again, you have to keep in mind, this is not sparring, this is not sport combat and things like that. It was
Yeah.
self-defense. It was where a guy wanted to hurt him physically really bad, that he had to defend himself. So it's a
Mm.
different scenario. So
Yeah.
everything that is being taught in SSBD in the first part of the training is usually based on his ideas or his experiences and things like that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is why it's like that.
So, in terms of your formative kind of training in SSBD, what did that look like? What were how often a week did you train? What
I
things did you
train.
train? What was that? What was that like?
I I train every day, and I
Yeah.
train. You know how hot it is here, so we train
Yeah,
during
absolutely.
evening,
Yeah.
nighttime. And the funny thing is, most of the time, it's just me sitting down, listening to them talk. You know
Yeah,
how Silat is.
absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot
A
of
lot
that.
of
Yeah.
talking,
Yeah.
coffee, and things like that. So a lot of
Yeah.
talking, and then discussing about what should we teach our grandson. And then my great grandfather would have a different idea. My grandfather would say, no, that we cannot do that anymore because he'll go to jail. But my grandfather says, like, yeah, but if it's, I'd rather him come home than have a black eye. And my grandfather would say this. So, and then at the end of the day, or the night, they would agree on one particular move that I should
Okay.
repeat as much as possible. So if you feel my ribs, the ribs on my left side is more in because of
Mm.
the constant hitting, but they don't hit me for real. It's just that, when you hit, when you hit something just like this for like 6 7 years, a child whose body is developing, it's going to be different after that.
Mm.
And the thing is, they really worked on their entries. So
Yeah.
for them, like a strong, how in traditional silat they call the hits jangan bermalam, meaning that don't spend the night. So you have to finish the fight as soon as possible.
Mm.
Don't go tap 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 and hit. They want to go boom straight, one hit, one touch, one finish move. So that's how they think. So at that time, that's how they trained me. One finishing move, one this, one finishing move, one that, because they said we're not. And now thinking about it, when they were teaching me, they were not teaching me to be a school. They were teaching their grandson how to
Yes.
defend themselves.
Yes, very
So
different.
that's
Yeah.
different, you know.
Yeah. It's a different
So
mentality. So, how long did that kind of process go on for? Were you training all the way with them up until you left for the UK, or how
yeah,
did
yeah.
that?
I
Yeah,
started when I was 12.
yeah,
So I train as regular as I can, minus exam times and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then sometimes I had to pretend to be sick just to not train.
yeah,
And then the last time I trained was like maybe, as you grow older, you get busy with college and things like that.
yeah,
So before I went to the UK, my training was a little bit more looser.
yeah,
But when I was in high school and just past high school, my training was really intensive and things like that.
yeah, yeah,
So it was like that. So the motion that we do is basically ingrained in my body.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and the beautiful thing is, I can adapt it to anything.
yeah,
Because, for example, like we have 4 weapons that we need to train. So we train weapons first. So it's the knife, the machete, the staff, and then the tekpi. The tekpi is like a sai, yes?
yeah.
And then Otisula in Indonesia. So basically,
Awesome.
we had to learn this weapons first. So basically, you have to go through it in four passes. So basically, when you pass it one time, mainly you are learning the weapon. The second time, you understand the weapon. The third time, you see that there is a common theme or a common principle to the weapons.
Mm,
And then when you pass it one more time, you see the border between one weapon and another disappears, because now you see concepts, you see
yeah,
principles, not techniques. So this is what, and then after that, once you understand that, then you transfer that understanding to your empty hands.
yeah.
So for us, we train weapons first before empty hands. But
Oh, so
at
you
that
train the
time,
weapons first, yeah?
yeah, that's
Mm,
why a lot of people
mm,
are confused. Like, why do you move like FMA? Because how else are you supposed to check a weapon hand? How else are you supposed to secure a weapon hand and things like that?
yeah,
So like the problem was, when I was younger, there was no training weapons. So we had a real kitchen knife. We just put a duct tape at the end,
yeah, yeah,
or we make the tip blunt. And the thing is, when I went to the Philippines, I wasn't actually looking for training weapon like a knife or things like that. I was just there to pick up my sword. And then I found this. It's like a kitchen knife, and it
Oh my
reminded
word,
me
look
of
at
our
that. That's
training.
going to cause some serious damage.
No, no, but
Goodness me.
it's again,
Wow.
it's
Wow.
aluminium.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy.
That's
So
brilliant.
it's like, it looks like a real kitchen knife. It's
Yeah.
Kamogong and then aluminium. So when I saw this, I said I need two so that I can train with my boy. So it's the psychology of it. So, and the thing is, like, a lot of people said, yeah, but why don't you use like a military knife or tactical knife and things like that? I said, really, if anybody's going to pick a knife, they're going to go to the nearest corner shop, pick up a kitchen knife, and then attack you with it, not a military school. You know?
Absolutely.
So this is
Absolutely.
the way it is. So
How do you, with such a kind of big organization and so many different moving parts and students and representatives, etc., how do you manage to keep a handle on that? Because inevitably, there's always going to be, and it's happened to me, it's happened any kind of teacher we know, it will always happen to them in some way, where there's politics, where there's disagreements, where, people go their own way. How do you keep a handle on that and just a grip on all of that just to keep everything moving smoothly?
well, through experience, usually politics happen or disagreements happen. Usually, if when one person wants to feel important, so
Mm,
they need to feel that everybody should respect them, or everybody should give them a certain type of look whatsoever, or whatever. The thing is, if you take a look at how I treat people, I treat them as friends first before anything else. So I'm hoping that everybody that trains with me would follow that way of dealing with people. Friendship first before anything else.
Yeah.
But as you said just now, as your organization grows, you have to give a certain responsibility to certain people in different countries or different groups and things like that.
Yeah.
Before COVID, it was easier to manage. Before COVID, it was easier to manage because everybody had the same goal, which is to
Yeah.
promote SSBD, to promote the art in the most positive way as possible. And then after COVID, things change because people change. You know, some people wanted to start their own school, some people want to train other systems, some people wanted to just break off, some people want to do this, some people that, and some people just want to hold on to a position, and then some people they just want to train, they don't want to hold any position and things like that. So it's always that. It's just not just one reason, but many reasons. Most of the time, SSBD, a lot of people, for me, I can accept if people stop training and they go, that's it. As long
That
as we're still
happens.
friends, I wish you the best, and so on and so on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but some people, you know, they don't like to just break apart. They want to make it sound that it's not them, it's me. It's not me, it's
Yeah.
him. You know.
Yeah.
So this is where problems usually happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is, you know, sometimes you make a long, how to say this? You've been friends with your students for like more than a decade and things like that, 8 years, 12 years, 10 years, 15 years, and things like that. Yes. And then when these things happen, if they're honest with me, I feel happy for them, you know, because you know they're moving to something better and so on and so on. But when you hear there is a backstory to it, then it gets a little bit disappointing. You know, why does this have to happen? Why did you do this? You know, you could have just walked away, and then we can always meet up in the coffee shop, talk and things like that. But why this? Why do you have
Yeah.
to uh, make yourself look innocent or make me look bad? Yeah.
Yeah.
So things
It's
like that,
it.
I just tend to just distance myself. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's unfortunate human nature. Sometimes people feel maybe because they have invested time, money, that they're owed something. I mean, it's the psychology of these kind of things is quite interesting. But yeah, but as I said, you've over the years, maybe not so much now, I don't know, but certainly a number of years ago there were with yourself, because I've always been almost like the Silat Eye of Gondor. I just watch. I just watch what everyone's doing, and I
Yeah.
look, and I think, oh, there's like some feuds going on here, and I just
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've been no stranger to controversy, more
No,
in your
no.
own time. And why do you think certain controversy has surrounded you? What's your thought for that? I guess people that are successful comes with the territory. People have some controversy, but what's your feeling about that?
In the beginning, to be honest, Johnny, I don't understand why. I like, for example, if you're my friend, after a few years, and then suddenly we have an argument. Why? Or I don't know you. I just met you once, and suddenly we have an argument. Why? And then now the way I see it, well, now I try to understand what's going on. Before I didn't understand. So when I did not understand, people say bad things about you or try to throw shit at you. So throw towards you, and you're like, now you have to defend yourself. I didn't say that. I didn't do this. I didn't. No. Now I tend to just give a smart as remark back, and I just keep quiet.
Yeah.
Because usually these people, now I see it, all the people that try to argue with me is because they wanted attention. And I had a lot of attention on Facebook and on YouTube and things like that. So the way I see it is, if they argue with me, then some of those limelight would reflect on them.
Mm.
But that's not the way you should see it.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be known as somebody who likes to argue, who likes to create controversy, and not from your skill? Like for me, from the very beginning, the way I see it, like if I'm going to promote SSBD, I will talk less about myself and talk and show more. That's why you see my videos on YouTube in the
Yeah.
beginning. there was no talking, there was no me introducing myself, there was no me nothing. The only thing that made you knew that it was a Brunei martial art was the intro music to
Yeah.
show where the map of Brunei is. That's it. Yes, and that's the way I said. But nowadays, because everybody wants to feel important and everybody wants to have that publicity for themselves without any showing any skill.
Yeah.
That's how I see some people are. I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
mean, the Silat, certainly from, as I said, when you started on YouTube back then, there wasn't a lot. But now, where we are in 2025, not only YouTube but Facebook, you can see the amount of teachers from Indonesia, Malaysia, all over Southeast Asia. There are so many now, so everything's
which is
become,
amazing. To be honest, which
yeah,
is amazing. It's
yeah,
amazing. Yeah. But when I first came out, a lot of people were unfamiliar with well, to be honest, at that time, people only knew two type of silat, either the groundwork silat or the Serak Silat, which is from America. So that's
that's
the only
right.
thing you see on in magazines and things like that.
Yeah,
And then there's a secretive Silat, and then there's a commercial Silat, which is more sports aspect. So when people watch my videos, people didn't know what's going on. They thought, is this actually Silat? Why do you have a high stance? Why do you have this? Why are you using this? Why are you not wearing a uniform? Why are you not wearing this? Why are you talking in English? And I'm like, because I live in England and I'm teaching Europeans, so I have to speak in English.
yeah,
It doesn't make sense if I speak in Malay or I speak Indonesian dialect because I'm not teaching Indonesia or I'm not teaching in Brunei. And then as for my clothes, a lot of people said, oh, Mal, like you wear your silat clothes, this and that, blah, 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 this and that. Johnny, you know how difficult it is to bring a cotton uniform? And then you sweat like crazy after 5 hours of training, and then the next day you have to train again, the next day you have to train again. So for me, it was not convenient. This is why I only wear like shorts, dry
yeah,
fit shirts and things like that, because I could wash it and it be dry in 2 hours.
yeah,
No, and it looks good. I could hand wash it whatsoever. So a lot of the things that I'm doing, I think my focus was not into all those things that people think what is silat, but
yeah,
I was more focused on the techniques,
yeah,
on the effective motion, the
yeah,
efficiency, the
yeah,
structure. I think that was also one of the reasons why people like it.
yeah,
But as you know, there's always a shift in interest. Like 10 years ago, people like this. 5 years ago, people like this. Nowadays, I see people like forms. So
yeah,
people like because it shows silat, and then people like rituals because it shows silat.
yeah,
So
yeah,
and for me, I'm like, yes, we have that ritual, but you live in the US or the UK. It doesn't matter if you train, you train. But if you want to do that, then come to the origin of the country of origin.
yeah,
Things like that. Yeah. So it's just there comes a phase where people want to learn the body mechanics of silat, and then people want to learn the agility of silat, the spirituality of silat, and then now it is in that period where people want to train forms only. So and
yeah.
then when they do pop 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 pop, and then it's like, oh,
And I
silat.
think that's an age thing as well. So you find as someone gets a bit older, maybe they want to emphasize things like jurus or a little bit of the traditional aspects of it, and maybe more the meditative practices rather than just full on kind of
Yeah.
fighting. The beauty is more is that there's a wide choice for the consumer, and there's something for everyone. And
Yeah.
someone might say, I like more stuff, and someone might say, I don't like his stuff, I like that stuff. It's okay, because
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
choice for everyone. There's a
Yeah.
wide diet that everybody's got.
Yeah.
You're obviously you're going around teaching. Are you still also teaching online as well? Is that still
I'm
part of
I'm
what you're
still
doing?
teaching online.
Yeah,
The online thing is the funny thing is in the beginning, I did not believe in online training because I
no,
said this is martial arts. Any martial arts has to be physical,
yeah,
face to face, physical
yeah,
training and things like that. But when COVID happened, I was really not thinking of teaching until a few of my students over from Germany and then a few guys, They said, Maul, so what if COVID doesn't stop for like 10 years? You're not going to teach for 10 years? We need to train. And I said, let me think about it. Let me think about it. And
Yeah.
then after that, after discussion with them and things like that, I said, okay, we'll start the class through Zoom. And
Yeah.
because we were during COVID times, I said, there's no point of us training with partners. So we'll do solo training. And for the first 6 months, it was crazy. I had more than 350 students. Yeah,
350 students.
yeah,
Wow.
training during the month, and for
Yeah.
at least 5 to 6 months
And not leaving
before.
your house doing it.
Without not even I had
Incredible.
to struggle looking for a place to teach, because at that time I was offering the times, not Brunei times, but more European and American
Yeah.
times. So I
Sure.
think that was because it's more convenient for them.
Of
So they
course.
took that they're enrolled. Now I'm still teaching. I have around 40 to 50 regular students, which
Brilliant.
maybe like 50% of them didn't stop since the very first class.
Brilliant.
And I'm still teaching like um, 10 hours a week, 40 hours a month, and things like that.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So yeah,
So
that's great.
great, mate. It's great to hear that it's you've managed to at least carry that on as an extra stream of revenue and work apart from the seminars that you go and
Yeah.
teach. That's wonderful. So, more if people are interested still now in learning from you, do they contact you directly, or do they contact maybe a representative in your in the country of origin, assuming you've got a representative there? How would they do that?
Yeah. Usually, people contact me first, and I would
Contact you
ask them
first.
where they're from. If they're from America or they're from this country or that country, then I said we have a guy that you can contact in your own country or close
Right.
to you,
Yeah.
and then we can start from there. Usually, if anybody wants to train with me, we'll offer them either the Zoom classes first, or if you don't like that, then come to the seminars. And then if you want to become part of the group, attend at least 5 seminars or 4 seminars close together. Not
Yeah.
like 10 years, 5 seminars. I mean,
Of
like
course.
within the 2 years, come to 5 seminars, let us get to know you, so that,
Sure.
it is better to have a good relationship first before anything else.
Yeah.
This is why before COVID, we had a very strong bond with a lot of our members.
Yeah.
But as everything else, after 4 years of hiatus, priorities change. So some
Yeah.
people
It
start their own
does.
school and so and
It
so.
does.
So
It,
that is
it
what happened.
happens.
Yeah.
One thing that we have in life, more is that change is always going to be a constant. And the
Always.
tighter we hold on to things, the more there's going to be struggle if we just say,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just going to do that. And this is
Yeah.
important to do
Yeah.
for our
Yeah.
own sanity more than anything. But more, just before we wrap up, just to say, I'll put all of the, look, everyone's going to know how to get hold of you, but for people maybe that haven't, and maybe that have come across you for the first time, which is obviously, if anyone's been under a rock, then maybe, but I'll put all of your details, the best way to get hold of you in the description of the video anyway.
The
Um,
best way is through Silat Worldwide on Facebook. That's one of the
okay,
best way.
okay, I'll make sure all of that's in the description. But more, when you're not on this earth anymore, how would you like people to remember you, Maul Mornie? Tell me as we close.
You prepared me for this question, and I'm
Mm,
still not prepared for this. It's crazy. I had like in my mind, I know what I'm going to say now. It's uh, it's crazy, and I still get the same emotion the first time you asked me this. It's I just want my children to know that I'm a good father, and that's it. It's crazy. Yeah, yeah. You
okay.
prepared me for this, and I was thinking like, okay, I'm gonna tell John Innes, this and that, and I would present it properly, and still I couldn't find the proper words. No, it's crazy.
Well,
Yeah,
you're a good guy, and you're doing your thing, and every human being, we're going through this life as best as we can, and I always think it's just much better to have as much peace with people as possible, and just bless people that they find a good way in their life, you know. So, Maul, with that, I have to say, look, thank you for
Thank
having a
you.
little chat with me, for sitting down and taking some time out of your day,
No,
and
thank you.
wish you the best for the rest of Ramadan. And
Thank you.
no doubt we'll catch up. We'll catch up again.
Yes, yes.
All
Thank
right.
you, Johnny. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care, mate.